Adam Schefter came out with a very juicy article to lead draft week with all the things he's hearing going into the 2025 NFL draft. And in it included a bunch of names to watch for that could be traded. So I want to break down 2 names specifically, starting with the veterans. Kirk Cousins leading the list, and then we'll talk about Jalen Ramsey. Now, we've talked about Kirk a ton on the channel in just over the last 72 hours, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse because I just don't want to be too repetitive, but if you want more Kirk Cousins stuff, we put this out on Monday morning's video, but my overall thoughts on this situation is I don't expect a trade to happen before or during the draft. I think a team is going to let the draft play out, and then after the draft is over, after some practices and OTAs and minicamp, they then get more engaged with the Falcons for Kirk Cousins if they feel they need a quarterback. Now, let's talk about Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is a name that has been surfacing a ton with Falcons fans. I've seen a lot of rumors between the Raheem Morris and Jalen Ramsey connection, potentially bringing on a reunion in Atlanta. So let's give some background here, starting with Jonathan Jones from CBS Sports recently shared this in an article. Teams like the Falcons and Raiders should have some level of interest if the price is right, talking about the Dolphins cornerback. Now, what's weird is he signed a 3-year extension less than a year ago. 3 years, $72 million back in September. He does get 31 in October, turns 31 in October, so up there in the age column, but he had a tremendous run with Raheem Morris in LA. Back-to-back Pro Bowl, All-Pro seasons, en route to a Super Bowl season as well. So Ramsey, I'm sure, would love to reunite with his old defensive coordinator. He is healthy, started all 17 games this past season. Remember, he was injured at the beginning of 2023, but ever since he made his debut as a Dolphin, he has not missed a game. And he's also been still very productive. I know with the age column factoring in, you're probably thinking he's washed at this point. I don't know. He's got 5 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. 2021 was 4 years ago for sure, but look what he did with Raheem Morris. 8 interceptions from 2021 to 2022. I can't even do the math on all those past breakups. What is that, 34, 35, 32, something like that? I mean, in coverage last year, he wasn't a liability. I mean, not the best work of his career, but, man, if that's his B game, 546 yards and 2 touchdowns allowed, where do I sign? Now, I bring up Jalen Ramsey not from the vantage point of having him start at corner necessarily, which could be an option, but you've brought back Mike Hughes. You brought back D. Alford. To me, those 2 actions right there indicate you are comfortable with all 3, 4 of those cornerbacks being in your rotation. But I wonder if you bring Ramsey to Atlanta to start at safety. Maybe just use a couple of packages with him, a little bit of a hybrid role. Jordan Fuller signed a cheap 1-year contract. I don't think he is, put in Sharpie as a starter next to Jesse Bates. And while this offseason has not been glamorous for Atlanta, and you can make the argument they've actually taken a step back rather than forward defensively with some of the departures and additions, what if this time next week we are talking about an Atlanta defense that's got Leonard Floyd and Mike Green starting at edge and Jalen Ramsey floating between corner and safety, and now you've got a trio with Jesse Bates, Jalen Ramsey, and A.J. Terrell, and a good veteran edge rusher in Floyd, and your 15th overall pick in Mike Green. Is that a defense that you can buy in on? I'm going to feel more confident about that defense than the current defense. Now, as for the cost to acquire Ramsey, I don't think it's going to be that much. He signed a 3-year extension, so financially there will be some level of hurdles to jump through, but the cap is a myth. Go talk to the Saints about that. That's not going to be a non-starter for a Ramsey trade. How about a future 5th-round draft pick? Atlanta cannot give up one of their picks in this year's draft for a player. Unless they're getting a pick back, right? Like, hey, we'll give you our second. You give us your second, which is 10 spots later, which that's not the case with Miami, and we get Jalen Ramsey. So the only way the Falcons get a Jalen Ramsey trade done is if they start the trade with 5 picks and they end the trade with 5 picks and Jalen Ramsey, but they just move back in some round or two. So let me toss it over to you. Are you doing this trade? Give me a yes or give me a no down below in the comment section. I'm doing it. Why not? He was so great with Morris out west. Why not bring that over to Atlanta? Why not bring just some level of spark to this defense that desperately needs it? A.J. Terrell was the only reliable corner in coverage for the second half of 2024. Jesse Bates is going to continue to be a cornerstone piece no matter what team he's on. Thankfully, it's Atlanta right now. But outside of that, there's not a lot of firepower on this defense. Give me Jalen Ramsey for a future 5th-round draft pick. Yeah, I'm all the way in on that. Now, before we look at some other trade rumors and just draft buzz in general, I do want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your chance to add to your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash daily. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this season. So, get started with Prize Picks today. Download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks. Run your game. Now, Schefter also mentioned a handful of other players who are on the rookie contracts that could be moved during the draft, and I just want to highlight a couple that I could see making sense for the Falcons. No one offensively would make a ton of sense on paper. If I had to toss out one name, what about Sam Howell? Let's say Atlanta moves on from Kirk Cousins during the draft, right? Well, now they have a quarterback room with Emory Jones. Remember him from Florida? Yeah, he signed with the Falcons like January. And Michael Penix. So if Atlanta wants to get a little bit more of a competent backup, Sam Howell is on the trade block. Adam Schefter reported over this past weekend the Seahawks are open to trading Howell. In English, someone give us a washing machine for him. Go full Jackie Moon. They signed Drew Lock. They want him to be the new backup for Sam Darnold. So you could get Howell for like a future 7th or 6th round draft pick, which I'd like that a whole lot more backing up Penix than Emory Jones. Now, it's important to note as we look at all these trade candidates, you don't like. It's a thin wallet. You don't have a lot to work with right now. First, second, they're just too valuable to part ways with for a veteran player. The only way you're moving on from one of these 2 picks is if you're getting someone else's pick in return, right? You're giving up 46 for a player and pick 60 or something like that. Oh, the Falcons signed they just signed Easton Stick while we're filming right now. Okay, so we'll do a video about that afterwards. But in real time, we just talked about Sam Howell. Oh, sorry, Sam, I don't think you're coming to Atlanta, but Easton Stick is. So at least me and the Falcons are thinking the same wavelength of you might want to get a better backup quarterback. Could that mean a Kirk Cousins trade? Oh, I'm getting myself worked up right now. All right, let's land this plane, and then we'll talk about Easton Stick in a video that has already been published based on the time you're watching this video. So the beauty of working in real time. All right, let's get back to where we were, Reed. So some other trade candidates to keep an eye on that the Falcons could have some level of interest in, specifically on the defensive side of the football, because I think that's the more pressing needs, to say the least, for Atlanta. Evan Neal, offensive lineman, former first-round pick, sucks. Kayvon Thibodeaux, much better than Evan Neal. Same draft class, but if the Giants go with Abdul Carter at number 3, there may not be a home for Thibodeaux in the starting lineup since Brian Burns and Carter would be there. Tyree Wilson and Odafe Oweh and Greg Newsome also on this watch list here. I'll highlight Tyree Wilson. Who's been here long enough to remember our pre-2023 draft coverage when we were in on Tyree Wilson right up until the draft, and then all the smoke was in on Bijan Robinson, so I feel like I flip-flopped. I don't remember. But the point is, Tyree Wilson last year with the Raiders, really his entire career with the Raiders has been underwhelming. So if the Falcons want to find an awesome athlete, 6'6", 275, that's a big dude who moves very quickly, but he just has not really put it all together in the pros. This could be a buy low, get really good results high type of trade the Falcons maybe pursue. I could see this happening if Atlanta doesn't go edge in round 1, right? They go like corner Will Johnson or something like that. So they go, all right, well, we got to find an edge rusher somewhere. Let's double up in round 2, and let's see what we can offer for Tyree Wilson from the Raiders. My prediction, though, the Falcons, I think, are going to try and trade back from pick number 15. They may not have success with that. It's not a very talent-filled draft. The guy you're getting at 15 versus the guy you're getting at 25, I don't think are very far apart. Like, if you can get Mykel Williams at 15 and James Pierce at 25, you're going to find some people that like Pierce more than Williams. So why would a team from 25 want to jump up to 15 and give up a third or a second-round draft pick? So I'm sure Atlanta would like to move back. I don't think they're going to have a lot of success in finding a dance partner. But if they are not able to trade back, I think their plan is twofold. One, you got to nail that first and second round pick. You got to find a day 1 starter at 15, and you got to find a good, at least rotational player in round 2. They also, with only having 5 picks, are going to be a hot spot for preferred undrafted free agents. When the draft is over and you get all those UDFA signings, a lot of those UDFAs are happy to go undrafted because if they get drafted in round 7, they have no say in where they go. If you are a preferred undrafted free agent, you're going to look at teams like the Falcons, like the Vikings, who combined have 9 draft picks, and think, man, I've got a real opportunity to make the roster there because there's not a lot of rookie competition. There's only 5, and 2 of those 5 were 7th-round picks. They're not that far ahead of me from a talent perspective, from a ranking level. So I think the Falcons are going to be a very hot destination for some of the best undrafted players, which I know doesn't sound super sexy, but there are plenty of just not like necessarily great UDFAs, but valuable. Troy Anderson, UDFA. Sorry, Nate Landman, UDFA. You can find good quality, borderline starting caliber players after the draft. And lucky for Atlanta, they're going to be one of the number 1 destinations for all those players. All right, before we get on out of here, quick plug here for ourselves because we're going to be live for the NFL draft. So make sure you tune in for our pick-by-pick analysis, the giveaways we're going to do. We'll go live at least an hour before rounds 1 and then day 2 of the draft. So scroll on down and click that subscribe button if you have not already for the best free Falcons draft coverage. Let's spin the wheel to get a shout-out for a recent commenter. Mr. Bartkus, spin that wheel. And 2 claps going to Douglas Sullivan. Douglas, thank you for commenting. By the way, half the time I just pick people that say very mean things to me. But I would love for them to have to go, wait a minute. I just belittled and berated this guy in the comment section. And now he's 2 clapping me. So, shout out to Douglas. 2 claps for you. 1, 2. We're going to sign off, and we're going to see you guys later with more on the Dirty Birds.